Good morning, everybody. It's Transmission Day at Bumper to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio, here along with Matt Allen, and we are your KTAR car guys. Heard every Saturday at 11 noon right here on News 92.3 KTAR. At Bumper to Bumper Radio, we are helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. If you've got car questions, we've got answers, so we encourage you to give us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. Today on the Bumper to Bumper Road Map, a little bit of transmission fact or fiction, open phones as always, and the black box of transmissions.
You like that reverb, Dave. You don't have your little control panel out here today to put in the sound effects. But that's right. We're having a special bumper-to-bumper event today at Tri-City Transmission, which is just on the south side of the Tempe Marketplace, right by the Wise Guys. Or is that Danny's Family
Car Wash?
Over there. And it's a special event, open house. You know, if you've got a car, you own a transmission, too. So, come on out, see the shop. We're serving up lunch. I see a nice group of gathering over there at the grilled cheese truck. And we've got all the Tri-City Transmission staff here, but sitting with us is Keith Clark and Ken Magram. And, of course, with Dave, that's 60 years of combined experience. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. And all the staff is here, like I said. Open house, cars up on the racks, giving tours. You can come in and see what's going on, what a real transmission shop looks like.
Well, let's start out with a little bit of fact or fiction. My dad said there was no such thing as a free lunch. Fact or fiction?
Today I'm going to go with fact, Dave, because like I said, we throw it up a little, or not throw it up, I don't want to mix it up a little bit. Usually fact or fiction's later, but there is a free lunch today. That's right. So, again, if you want to come out, and there's a lot of the bumper-to-bumper radio shops out here. And, of course, Dave and I are here. You come in and meet us, meet the guys in your shop. And
well, I'm blessed to have a couple of wonderful technicians. We've got Keith and Ken sitting here, and they're quiet guys. Say hello. Let everyone know you're here.
Hello. Nothing like a little bit of pressure, huh?
Right.
I'm sweating more than usual, Dave. I don't know if it's because it's warm or because
it's a little different.
We have an audience.
We haven't done this before, or it's been a while since we've done this. So, you know how I got in the transmission business is kind of ironic. When I was 16 years old, my first car was a 1984 Jeep CJ7, and I got it for $4,000, and I had been driving it a week. And after about a week, it started grinding in every gear. I put it in first gear, grind. Put it in second gear, grind.
Are you sure that's not because you didn't know how to drive?
No, I was pretty good at driving. I was familiar. I was always working on dirt bikes and go-karts and that type of thing when I was a kid. But this thing ground into every gear. So on the way to school, I could kind of get in a gear. I pulled off at a transmission shop, and I told the guy what was going on, and he said, "Oh, yeah, let me go for a quick drive with you." So the guy jumped in the car. He ground every gear for me, not that I couldn't do it myself. I guess eventually it goes in easier, once you chip the teeth off,
Wear it out a bit.
Going easier next time. And I said, "Well, what do you think?" And he goes, synchros and bearings, and he kind of had his hands in his pants like Al Bundy, that kind of thing. But I just didn't feel real good about it. He said $600. And I was like, well, I don't have $600. I had to beg, steal, and borrow to get the money to buy this thing. So I left there. I ground my gears all the way home, and I went and I got a manual for my car. And the first thing it said, grinding in every gear, check clutch release. So, I adjusted the clutch linkage, and sure enough, it fixed it. So at that point, I think I was kind of in the transmission business at that point. It wasn't a big deal.
So you solved it yourself by...
So that's all. $20 Haynes manual at that time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Cars have changed a little bit since then, but...
Well, and that's a manual transmission, maybe a little bit less complicated than the automatic. I don't think anybody today is going to be opening up an automatic transmission. I remember in the 70s, the old Ford station wagon. What is that, Keith? A C3 or something like? Probably the
C4.
70s. C4.
C4.
I remember my dad and my uncle pulling that thing out on the ground and rebuilding it. But in today's transmissions, that's not happening.
It's a thing of the past.
And I think one of the things that you say a lot, and we know is true, is oftentimes it's not the transmission that is the problem. That transmission has to do what it's told to do.
It's just just there to do it.
And so it's usually not the transmission that needs the fixed. It's the guy or the computer or the module or the wiring or something that's telling it to do something wrong. So oftentimes people end up with a transmission maybe they didn't need. It's get that fixed and go back. It's doing the same thing, and then it's just a quick adjustment.
Well, my point to all this though is the diagnostic of the transmission. So this was a simple explanation in a manual transmission, and the funny thing about manual transmissions is we hardly see them. There are maybe 1 or 2% of what's on the road, it seems like, anymore, so we hardly see them. So the guys that can still diagnose a manual transmission are few and far between. But also the diagnostics in the automatic transmission. See, transmissions, they cost 2 or 3 times more than what you might remember, because the average person buys a transmission every 7.5 years. It's not something you buy every day. The price of them is increased, which is not a good thing, but at the same time, they last twice as long as they used to. So Keith and Ken here are very good at finding out what's wrong, as opposed to just having to just go buy a whole nother one and stick it in. Some thoughts on that, Ken?
No, that's why we're here. I mean, my job is to do what I can to keep the customer from spending money he doesn't have to, and it's also to keep so that the guys in the shop know exactly what they're going to repair. They don't want to have to go through it and do what Matt's talking about. You've done the repair, you get done with it, and whoops, it's the same problem all over again. We haven't really fixed anything, so my job is to find the fix, find the repair.
Find out what's wrong.
Right.
Yeah, the diagnosis is not the simple pulling the code. Oh, the transmission, there's a torque converter code. It needs it needs a torque converter, or it needs a whatever. That is where the diagnostic you really need to get in and find out. And I think one of the nice things is Ken is the gateway to just about every car that comes through here. It goes through Ken for diagnosis, and then goes out through the repair process. If it needs a rebuild or needs open up, then it comes across. I won't call it a desk key. Well, you've got a desk back there, but boy, that build room, I don't think there's a transmission guy in town that wouldn't maybe give up his living room for that for that room to have a place to build and work. And so that's really, I guess you guys work together too, because not only do you have to have a proper diagnosis, but the builder needs to know what was happening and all those symptoms. So it's not just like going through get one out of a box. It's better to have yours built.
Yeah, it definitely ends up being a team effort between Ken and I. We definitely are the gateway, and we really take our time to really do root cause analysis to make sure that we are getting to the cause, not just the symptoms that the customer is complaining about. Because we want to do it once, we want to do it right. That's all there is to it.
Well, I saw walking around the guys, owners of Larry Harker's Automotive, and they've been on the show before and talking to them. And it's true. We know it and we think about it, but he said it to us during the show. There's the problem, and then there's what caused the problem. So you can fix the problem, but if you didn't fix the cause of that problem, you're going to be back. And I don't care if it's a transmission, a running problem, bearing failure.
Well, here's the
whatever.
deal. There's this belief in our business that transmissions only last 100,000 miles. And some of them do fail at 100,000 miles. Some fail at 80,000. Some at 60,000 miles. But on average, the life of these things is going way up. And what happens is that our business has been so quick to replace a transmission, not our business, not Tri-City Transmission, but
the industry.
The industry has been so quick to replace a transmission that wasn't bad. It could have a bad speed sensor, it could have a bad solenoid, it could have a bad throttle position sensor. You really don't want to shortcut, and we get phone calls every day. Dave, how much for a transmission? I don't know, what's wrong with it? They say, just give me the worst case. Well, the worst case is you buy a transmission and you didn't need a transmission. That, to me, is awful. That's the worst case, and we don't even think about that. But people are so quick because as soon as they can feel out just what they're in for, they think it's going to lower their anxiety. But they become their own worst enemy. You got to find out what's wrong with it and then spend money wisely as opposed to just pitching a transmission at it.
Well, the best thing to do if you think you're having a transmission problem or any other problem for that matter, don't come in and tell us what to fix or get on. I guess it's okay. Get on the internet, do a little bit of research. Maybe if you don't know anything, you want to just be familiar, but don't guide the repair. Take good notes. Does it do it when it's cold? Does it do it when it's warm? Does it do it when it's cold but then go away when it's warm? Does it do it just coming off the freeway? There's all those different scenarios. And if you can have a nice little list to bring to the advisor.
And people get
helps.
frustrated at all the questions we ask them, but we're doing it for a reason. We want to know what's going on wrong. So even we're out here on remote and we're serving up lunch, but don't be afraid to give us a call at 602-277-5827. 602-277-KTAR. And I think we got the texting up, so you can also shoot us text at 411-923. Again, that's 411-923. Give us a call. You're listening to Bumper to Bumper Radio.